Hi, Barry. This is Jim Killen. I was appointed to be pastor at Deer Park Church shortly after you came. The people there told me that they were all proud of their new choir director and they sure wanted to keep him. I never found any reason to disagree with that. I remember lots of things about your ministry. I remember the Talley family concerts. To tell you the truth, I never did like the way you filled up the choir loft with all that sound equipment. But I sure did like the way you filled up the church with people. I remember the time when you and the choir director at First Baptist Church decided you wanted to have a joint Christmas cantata. Ernest Whedon and I thought that was a neat idea. Everybody in town was amazed that the Methodists and the Baptists were going to sing together. Well, we thought if we were going to be singing together in heaven, we might as well start learning to sing in harmony down here. I remember initiating Debbie into the work of a director of Christian education, and I told her it was a never-ending task. She found out that was true. I remember the birth of your first very special son, and that was the beginning of what must certainly have been the most demanding and the most meaningful adventure of your lives. I remember your friendship, your ministry, your service. They're all very precious to me. Thank you.
The passage in Jeremiah 29 that begins, "But I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future," is not unfamiliar. It's an awesome promise that God gives us. But that passage is followed by, "If you call upon me and come and pray to me, I will listen. If you seek me, you will find me if you seek me with all your heart." Barry, you've touched lives and made a difference that counts for good, and I think that that is you. I suspect that your search hasn't been conventional or typical. I'm sure it's had some humor, tongue-in-cheek, a twinkle in your eye, and probably some irreverence. But when you look at where you are and what you've done, it has to be that you've sought God's will and you've found it. I'm grateful that you were Elizabeth's teacher and mentor and friend. I'm grateful that I can sing in the choir at Deer Park United Methodist Church. I'm grateful that I can be blessed by your incredible talent and creativity. But I don't see your act as a solo, but rather a duet, working in concert with Debbie as you serve this community of believers and the wider community here in Deer Park and in Texas and even in the United States. You've touched lives and you've made a difference. And I'm grateful that one of the lives you've touched is mine.
Barry, we're here today to honor you. 30 years of service to this church. That's amazing. We are so blessed. You would think, though, after 30 years, the congregation would know just about everything about you. But we have some questions that we would like answered. And so we're going to search for some of those answers today. The first question we would like answered is, how do you choose those wonderful choir anthems every Sunday? Every choir anthem is always so inspirational and goes right along with the preacher's sermon. Do you have divine communication? Do you have some kind of a direct contact to the man upstairs? Or what? second question. Barry, we've noticed through the years that whenever a preacher is preaching, oh, certainly not you, Deborah, you're always writing something. Now the congregation feels that you're writing music. Is it that you are so musically prolific like Beethoven, that you are composing in every opportunity? What exactly are you doing? Well, one more question, Barry. We've noticed that right before the choir sings, you always leave out the side door and go in the direction of the church office. What are you doing back there? Are you taking one last moment to call on the angels to transform our choir into a heavenly chorus? Or what?
Hi, Ronnie. I'd like to make a tea time for a foursome at 120. All right, thanks. Gotta go.
Well, I am so glad that we've taken the time today to answer those questions that our congregation has been wondering these last 30 years. And I know that we're here to thank you for those 30 years of service to this church. We're so blessed to have your leadership and your talent. It's hard to imagine a Sunday, though, without Debbie by your side. Debbie, you are so beautiful and talented, and we are still in awe of you for who you are and for what you do. I think the thing that strikes me the most about both of you is your commitment to this church. It doesn't matter what is going on in your lives, be it professional or personal, you're always here every Sunday. It doesn't matter whether the sanctuary is full on an Easter Sunday crowd or whether it's pretty sparse in the summertime, you're always an inspiration. So we thank you both for 30 years, but I also thank you for every single Sunday.
Hi, I'm Lonnie Hiller, in case you don't know who I am. For the people that do know who I am, I'm still Lonnie Hiller. The first time I ever came to this church was in July, the fourth weekend, 1991, and we were just visiting, and it just so happened that Barry happened to sing the American Trilogy, and it just blew me away. I couldn't believe how pretty that was. So my wife and I, Paula, and our youngest daughter, Lori, as soon as choir practice started after the summer, we went and joined the choir. Barry was kind of excited when he saw 3 people come in, and then after the rehearsal was over, he said, well, 2 out of 3 is not bad, you know. So anyway, to give you a little idea of what my musical background is, in the first grade I played sticks, and they took them away from me and burned them, I think. But so that was the extent of my educational in the music field. But we really enjoy Barry and Debbie in the choir, and but like I said before, I don't read music. When the little black things on the lines go up and down, I go up and down too, you know. And there's squiggly things on there, so whenever they come up, I just squiggle a little bit, you know, and see what happens. But Barry has made some faces at times. You know, he's got 1 or 2 hernias and stretch marks in his face, so he's not quite as good looking as he was in 1991 when I first saw him. But we really enjoy the choir, and Debbie is just an awesome piano player, the best I've ever heard. And she plays all the white notes and the black notes, and I sing in the cracks. So that's about the way it goes as far as my singing in the choir. But it's really been a great joy for us to be associated with the two of you, and have enjoyed every minute of it. And hopefully, if I'm able to sing another 20 years, Barry's going to be one ugly dude by the time I get through. So God bless you, and we love you both.
Well, here I sit again, back for another audition. I guess I did pretty well because they called me back for a second audition. So we'll see how things go this time. Let's see. Well, I do remember back with my first audition, my hair kind of blended in with the background. So I thought, what can I do to prevent that? So as I was walking around the house, I happened to notice a picture of me when Barry first came to be with us here at Deer Park Methodist Church. And I thought, oh, I see what I can do. Here's the picture, which was taken about the time that he came. And I said, oh, there's a bow in my hair. I can put a bow in my hair, and that would help. That would help a little bit, I think. Anyway, let's go on. Barry, 30 years. Do you realize that that's probably around 3,000 hours that we've been in choir together? And most recently, I've been in this chair, and I'll call it first chair, if for no other reason than I, along with Margaret, have been with you the entire 30 years. That's a long time. Well, I love to sing. I've been singing all my life as well as I can remember, in school and out of school. I love our choir rehearsals. We have a lot of fun. And I have learned a lot under your direction. And I look forward to more years. And I thank you for all of your 30 years. And also Debbie, because she's been here right beside you all that time. And frankly, Barry, I don't think you could have done it without her. So let's get on and do some more music and make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Hey, Barry, did I make the audition okay?
Hey Talley, I've been asked to talk about a few things, and here I am. Okay, let's go this way. There are 3 stories I'd like to relate to you. One, if you recall, years and years ago when you were a PA announcer, and I think you still are, the voice of the Deer. As an assistant principal, I was assigned to work every football game at home. This particular night, though, I was not assigned, so Mary Jane and I went to the visitor side so I could sit and watch the football game, the band, and the escorts, and not be bothered and not worry about what was going on. Sometime during the second quarter, their announcement came over the PA. Would Mr. Gibson report to the home side? Would Mr. Gibson report to the press box? Now, I knew this could not be true, and I looked up in the press box, and I saw you and some other guy kind of moving around looked like they might have been laughing. And the key to that was when you turned off the PA, I thought I heard a snicker. So anyway, I didn't want to ignore it, but I waved, and sure enough, you waved back. So I knew it was a trick on me. And also, if we move to our second story about the way we ranked your choir, I used to tell you the choir here at the church was very good, and I enjoyed it. In fact, it was one of the highlights of the service to me. And so we started ranking, if you recall, how well the choir did. And so each Sunday, I would go 1, 2, if not so good, it would be a 3. Then eventually we added a plus. So a 1 plus was excellent, and sometimes if it just was not good at all, it would be just a real quiet. Now, you had asked me after the service if you couldn't find me, how you did, and I'd also always tell you. That got to be a habit. And now, I'm not sure if you can see me because you don't see as well as I rank the choir. Okay, the third story I'm thinking about was really a mean trick towards me. You came in the office one day and you said, "Mr. Gibson," and I knew something was wrong, or you wanted something, and I said, "Yes, Barry, what can I help you with?" And you said, "Well, we're gonna have a talent show." I said, "Well, good." He said, "I've got five of the teachers that are going to be in the talent show." I said, "Well, great." He said, "They're going to sing cowboy songs. They're going to put boots on. They're going to put their cowboy hats on and cowboy duds." And said, "We need you, though, to be number 6. And I said, "Oh, no, I can't sing, not me." And he said, "Now, come on. Anybody that does discipline all day long, anybody that signs kids to detention, the ISC, surely you can show some school spirit and be in the talent show." I said, "Well, okay." So I remember the first practice, we went to Gaines Mason Auditorium. And I looked down and we were on the stage. You were down front with the console. You had little things you put over your ears. You would play the music, and before we started, you gave each of us a microphone that had a long cord that went to the console. So anyway, you sang along with us. We were doing pretty good. We did the first song, then we did the second song, and you had guaranteed me that my voice would be hidden within the other 5 voices. So he said, "Well, let's do this one more time, then we'll be through." Okay, so we started off, and during that first song, I looked down, and you were laughing. And I thought that was strange, but then I saw you put your hand on your face, then put your head down, and before I know it, you were leaning it over on the console with your head down, and I could just see your shoulders moving, your whole body. And after a while, I think you slipped because you slid off the stool and hit the floor. Then you got up, and you said, okay, let's stop. And he said, "I turned off everybody's microphone except Mr. Gibson's." And what you were doing, Talley, you were listening to me, and I'd already told you I could not sing. And that was such a cruel joke. But you said, during the program now, "Why don't you just mouth the words, Gary, and not sing?" And sure enough, I did, because I was afraid you might turn that microphone on again and everybody hear my voice. And what that gets us to is this, Talley. When you talk to the church and you tell everybody in the church that you want anybody in the church to come sing in the choir, except Gary Gibson. Or you invite people to come sing in the choir and you say, along with Mr. Gibson. So you snicker and I snicker, we both know that I cannot sing. But anyway, if you look at all these stories, the football game, ranking the choir here in the church, and the joke you pull on me at the talent show, pleasant memories. And Barry, we're so proud that you and your family are in our church and also working with the school. We're very fortunate to have such a good family of Talleys.
Hey guys,
You know, music has been a huge part of my life, very important to me, but I never really sang in a church choir except for elementary school choirs and youth choirs in my church as I was growing up. Megan and Jack were part of your church choir for a long time, but I finally joined in 1999. Wow, it was such a learning experience. And I've had such an opportunity to sing such beautiful music. And even had some little girl dreams come true when our choir joined with the First Baptist Church Choir and we sang the Messiah in the Performing Arts Center. That was huge for me. That was a really, really big deal. Being a part of this church choir has enriched my worship experience in ways that just can't be measured. But even with that, some days I want to pay a little bit less attention to the music and take time to just listen to Debbie play that piano. She is so accomplished, and we're so lucky to have her. I'm luckier than most people because I get to work every day with my friend. Barry, we've joked, we've played jokes, we've traveled, we've laughed, sometimes we've cried, we've argued, and we've laughed some more. And we've laughed a lot over the almost 14 years that we've worked together. And it all started when I came into your office one day as a parent volunteer and I said, wow, you need a secretary. And 5 years later, I was the one. Arnold Adair called me and told me that my number one priority in my job was to clean up your office. I'm always stunned when someone asks me, hey Diana, are you keeping Barry in line? And my first thought is, I don't think you know him very well. But then my stock answer is, no, I just try to keep up and then I just sort of sweep along behind. My favorite days at work are when you're in your office either composing or arranging a piece of music. I am in awe of the process and amazed by the music that you produce. Debbie, you are a touchstone for me. My day is always a little bit brighter if I have an opportunity just to chat with you for just even a few minutes. And when we go through days at a time where we don't get to talk, I feel a little lonely and a little lost because I really miss you. Barry, you're what I call a 110%er. Whatever you commit to, you give to 100% and then some. And you never, ever phone it in. Every day with you is something different, something fun, some kind of a learning experience, or it's something meaningful. And I want to thank you for all of that. And hey, who's got your back? I do.
Well, good afternoon. This is Randy. I'm coming to you from Odessa, Texas, better known as the Garden of Eden. As you can see behind me, just beautiful scenery. Anyway, I'm sorry I couldn't be there, brother, to celebrate with you for your 30 years in Deer Park. And at Deer Park Methodist Church, and but I did have a few comments I wanted to make. By the way, I know that Mom is there. Hi, Mom. And Aunt Nita. Hi, Aunt Nita. You're my favorite aunt. And I will let you know that if I say anything out of line, it's because I am the son of Rose, who is there with you, and she sort of gave me that trait. But I'll try to keep it on the up and up today. I wish I could take credit for Barry for what you've done in your life and what you've done there at Deer Park. Well, actually, I can take a little credit. I was just trying to think back on some of the things that I did to further your progress. And I remember one of the very first things I did was helping you with your all-state music when you were a sophomore in high school. And, you know, I was in college and taking voice lessons, and you asked me to help you. And remember you were trying out on first tenor, and I remember giving you the sage advice of sing like a sissy. And you didn't seem to get that concept, and so I think I told you, you'll never make All-State, so what's the use? And I think that inspired you to make All-State for 3 years, so I'll take credit for that. I don't know if you remember this, but I kept you from going into the theater when I went to see you in high school in the play 110 in the Shade, a musical, and you had the lead part. And I think after it was over, I said some sage advice. I said, it's a good thing that you can sing because you sure can't act. And I think that kept you from going in the wrong direction into the theater. Of course, it's been well documented that I worked long hours at Bingo's Barbecue so that you could take piano lessons and voice lessons. And I've told that story so many times I've started to believe it. But anyway, and I don't think you remember this either, but back when you and Debbie and Sherry and Billy and I went on that fateful cruise to the Bahamas, I think I encouraged you to take that Deer Park job. I don't think you remember that. Keeping you and Debbie from becoming the next Sonny and Cher. So I'll take a little credit for that. But anyway, now that I have all the humor over with, if there was no laughter in the room, I apologize. I hope there was a giggle or two. But I actually found a scripture that I think applies to you, Barry, and it's Luke 12, verse 48, and it says, to whom much is given, much will be required. And since I've known you since the day you came home from the hospital, I know that much has been given to you. I've never heard a better singer. I've never heard anyone be able to chord and play piano by ear as well as you have. And I don't know too many more choir directors that are better than you, unless it would be me and Billy. But you've been given much, and what I've watched over the years is that you don't take that for granted. And I know the people of Deer Park have watched you grow, have watched you become not only the Director of Fine Arts, but one of the most successful high school choir directors in the nation. So we're all very proud of you for that. And I know that God will continue to use you with your talents as long as you live. That's because that's who you are. I also want to say that I don't think it was any coincidence that you and Debbie landed in Deer Park. I believe that God saw a need there, and he saw an opportunity there for you and Debbie to go and become part of a community that would love you and would cherish you just as much as you love and cherish them. And I know that Debbie's work at the church is just as important as yours, Barry, if not more. I'm so proud of her and you for what you have done there. And I'm proud of the Deer Park community for what they've done for your family, for you and Debbie and Scott and Tyler. So, gosh, what a match made in heaven. So proud that that happened. And I wish that I could be there today. Actually, I could have, but I chose not to, the cost and all that. But I promise you that if you make the 60-year anniversary, I'll have Sherry roll me in there. If you'll just have somebody wipe the drool, I'll be there. I promise you that. And I'm going to just finish by saying this. I love you, brother. You're one of my best friends. God bless you.
Barry, I was at your very first choir practice 30 years ago, 1982. You were really young. I was pretty young too. My main memory of that night is that we spent about 45 minutes on one phrase of one anthem. We needed a lot of work. But I knew that night that you were going to be great and that you knew what you wanted and how to get it. Every week since then, you have brought the same intensity and passion for excellence and patience to choir practice. And you have entertained us with your quick wit every time. You have brought so much joy to my family and to me. Can never thank you enough. Your talent is 1 in a million. And the best part is that you brought Debbie Talley with you.
BT, you and Debbie are two of my very favorite people in the world. And I feel so fortunate to have been part of several of your choirs over the years. And ever since I moved from Deer Park, I've tried to find another choir to be a part of, and I guess I'm just spoiled because none of them seem to measure up. But I'll keep trying. But I wanted to do something really special in honor of your 30 years. I wanted to bring back one of the greatest Hello Texas acts of the 80s, that of course being YMCA. But unfortunately, Gary didn't feel like he could carry me off the stage like that anymore, so I'm sorry about that. But seriously, you and Debbie both are two of the most talented people that I've ever known, and two of the most special too, for sure. And I just thank you so much for everything that you've done in my life, and I just can't believe it's been 30 years. But congratulations. You have touched so many lives through the church and through the school, and I say, here's to 30 more.
I'll drink to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hello there, Barry. It's hard to believe that you've been there 30 years. It's 30 years ago that you were the assistant choir director and Becky McRae resigned and you got the head job. And not only that, you've got to have a head job of the church choir director. And I want to congratulate you. You've done a great job, and I hope you'll stay there another 30 years. And also stay at the high school another 30 years. That'll make you hold a record at the high school. No one has stayed there 60 years. So hang in there, Barry. We're proud of you.
Good morning. It's Labor Day 2012, and I'm coming to you from my back patio in Amarillo, Texas, because I can sit on the back patio in Amarillo, Texas, and not sweat like you would be doing if you were sitting on your back patio right now. Congratulations, Brother Barry, on 30 years at Deer Park United Methodist Church. What an amazing milestone you have reached. Congrats also to Debbie, since you've been there just as long. You two have been at the center of music in your community for an entire generation, and Deer Park is a better place because of your leadership, your talent, and your standards of excellence. I'm sure you're receiving all kinds of kudos from lots of different folks. I thought I would try to bring your legacy at Deer Park United Methodist Church into some kind of mathematical perspective. So I now present Barry Talley by the numbers, a fair and balanced look at the last 30 years. My numbers are based on 2 services each Sunday for half of your time there, and 1 service for about half the time. I have no idea how accurate that is. But approximately, you have been music director for 2,300 Sunday morning services, 2,300 doxologies, 2,300 anthems, 7,000 hymns, and 1 praise chorus sung 4,368 times. You've been there for 360 communion services, 300 worship committee meetings, most of which you did not attend, 242 covered dish luncheons, all of which you did attend, 47 gallons of coffee, 4,136 donuts. Make that 4,137 donuts. 10 preachers, Just a guess based on the Methodist formula of preachers never staying more than 3 years. During your tenure at Deer Park United Methodist Church, I have been music director at 8 different churches. You've seen babies born, watched them grow up, and become parents themselves. What you and Debbie have accomplished and endured over the past 30 years is truly remarkable. You are a tribute to the Talley family name. This branch of the Talley family is constantly in awe at all you have done and continue to do. I just hope that somehow you can parlay this 30-year anniversary into some sort of pay raise. So, from Sarah, Bob, Beth, and Charlie, and Libby and me, may God continue to bless your work at Deer Park United Methodist Church. I love you, brother. Keep the faith, and God bless the Houston Astros.
Barry Talley, my good friend, loyal friend, congratulations on 30 years of service with the Deer Park Methodist Church. I know how important you are to that church and have been for a long time. Also to the school district and the town here of Deer Park. Barry's insanely talented, very hardworking when he wants to be. Barry runs a first-class program, uses great common sense running that program. He's one of our finest teachers year in and year out and has been for a long, long time. Congratulations on your 30 years. Keep up the hard work. You know, the one thing I like about Barry probably the most is that he's always run his program by his heart and not so much by the book. Congratulations from the city of Deer Park, Methodist Church, and my family. Thank you.
You have brought so much joy to my family and to me.
You've touched lives and you've made a difference.
I remember your friendship, your ministry, your service. They're all very precious to me.
We're very fortunate to have such a good family of Talleys.
God bless you, and we love you both.
Barry Talley, he's our favorite. Barry Talley, he's the man.